Welcome to the introduction to the new MyRoto. What you see here is the new homepage, and we've kind of broken it off into 5 sections. First section is quoting and ordering. The second section is check order status. And this is where you can go to see the status of any orders you've placed in terms of delivery and production. We have order history. This is where you can go to search all of the order history with us you have for 5 years. And the only caveat is we only allow you to pull back a year's worth of data at a time, so that you're not trying to pull back a ton of data and it takes a while to render on your screen. We have saved quotes, and we have upload a file. The first thing we'll walk through is quick quoting and ordering of a flexible die, and then we'll do a solid die as well. So when you select quote and order, the first question it asks you is guided buying versus I know what I want. Guided buying is where you would pick a material category, and then we would offer you the products best suited to cut that particular material. I know what I want is for those folks that know exactly what product they want, and they don't need the guided buying to tell them what's best to cut their material. So we'll do the guided buying for a flexible tool. Here you have the material categories. If you're not sure where your material falls in terms of these categories, we have a hover over here that allows you to see which materials fall into what categories. The next question we ask is the shape. And for the first time on MyRoto, you're actually able to quote special simple shapes. You can select special complex, and it'll allow you to submit the quote. We just won't quote a price. So if you have a question about whether or not your product, your special shape is simple or complex, we have a hover over here that helps explain that. Simple shape is a simple shape with few sharp corners, minor modifications to standard shapes, and no internal blades. Complex is a free-form shape with multiple sharp corners and multiple shapes per cavity. So we'll quote a round corner rectangle. Enter the quote specs. We also have a selection here for our proprietary RotoRepel non-stick coating. And if you have questions about what that is, there's a hover over here to help explain it. And then there's also a link here that links to our website that further explains what RotoRepel is. So you can select quote. And now it returns all products rated to cut paper on paper. And you have some verbiage here to help you decide which of these products is best for your shop. So we'll select AccuPrime with Flex Plus. From here you can save the quote, come back to it later, or you can go ahead and configure an order, and that's what we'll do. We'll configure an order. So the next question we ask is what press you're going to be running it on. We ask you to further describe your material. To the space across, space around, your roll repeat, cut type, label application. Here you can put a die mark. And then you can also upload a file if you want to as well. And then you can save to order. Okay, so from here, you can do several things. You can print the quote if you like. Something to be aware of here, if you have a pop-up blocker, you'll probably have to let it allow pop-ups from rotometrics.com or from MyRoto in order for this pop-up to come up. So from here you can click print, print it to your local printer, or save that document. You can enter your ship via information or any comments. This field here is where you can enter several things. You can enter your need by date. You can enter any special instructions you want the CSR to know. You can also enter your PO number here. And then you can, up here you can add a line. And this will take you back through if you want to add a totally separate die to this particular PO, or you can copy a line down if you're going to order 2 of the exact same die. Additionally, this configure edit button here will take you back if you want to change anything. So for example, let's say you wanted to actually change the size across. It'll ask you to reprice. And now it's repriced the die based on the new attributes. And you can save that to your order. It'll take you back to here. And you can submit that order. So that's quick quoting of a flexible die. Now we'll go back and do a solid tool. So let's select solid, do paper on paper. We'll do a round corner rectangle. So for solid tooling, we actually need to know the press to be able to quote. So the first question we ask is the press. You can enter any of your quote information, space around, and teeth. So for space around or teeth, you can enter one or the other, and then it will calculate either space around or teeth, whichever one you didn't enter. So then you can select quote. And now it's offered you all of the products selected to rated to quote paper on paper. So we'll just select RD90M with RD Plus, and we'll go ahead and go through and configure an order. So describe your material, type, label application. And then die mark. You can upload a file if you choose to. And again, from this screen here, you can, if you decide you want to change something, you can, and it'll allow you to, it'll ask you to reprice. So we can save it to the order. And again, you can add a line or copy a line, you can print your quote, enter your ship via PO information, and you can submit that order. So that's quoting and ordering solid and flexible tooling in the new MyRoto. Next, we're going to check your order status. So if you click check order status, this opens up all open orders and any orders that have shipped within the last 20 days. And the reason we chose 20 days is because we wanted to, the person who received the email that an order is shipped or that it's arrived may not be the same person who's checking the status. So we wanted one place for everybody to go to be able to check the status of an order. And you can see over here we have scheduled versus actual ship date. If the date is not italicized, that's still the scheduled ship date. If it's the actual ship date, it'll be in italics. And over here you can see we have the tracking number. If you click that tracking number, it'll open up the carrier's website and show you where your product is in terms of delivery. If you click into the detail here, it'll show you a status bar here to show you how far your product is through the production process. And so from here, you can also have any of your order documents emailed to you, your certificate of conformity, or your packing list. The certificate of conformity will only be available if the product is shipped. So we go back to order status. You can do some filtering in here as well. You can type in your any part of your customer mark, things like that, to filter the different products. So we'll go back to the home page. So now we're going to look at order history. So order history, like I said earlier, is where you can go to search any of the products you've ordered from us within the last 5 years. So we're going to look at flexible tooling ordered the last year. Okay, so this is what the system has returned. Over here to the right, you can see we have an image icon. You hover over that, you can see the shape of the cavity of that particular die. And if you click on one, it opens up a larger screen, a larger representation of that cavity. So we'll click into this one here. I'm sorry. Additionally, you can also do some filtering here. You can filter and say, okay, less than 2 inches across, greater than 3 inches around. I was running it on my Mark Andy 16-inch. There you have all of those dies that fit that particular criteria. And then if you want to clear out the filter, you can click clear filter here. So we'll click into the detail of this particular item here. So This item has some additional details in here. Again, you can see the image. From here, you can request your certificate of conformity, your order document, or your packing list to be emailed to you. An additional feature here is you can also reorder these products. So reordering will send you down a couple of different paths. If it's something that's available on MyRoto to price, it will send you back through the system and reprice it, and then you can go ahead and order it. If it's not something that's available on MyRoto now, it'll shoot an email to the CSR, and they will get back to you with the quoted price. So if we click reorder, it'll take you back through the system. So it says here, a reorder is an exact replica of the original order, and if anything other than the die mark changes, it should be entered as a new order, and this would include the material to be cut. So you can change the die mark. You can upload a file if you choose to, save it to your order, enter a ship via or PO information, and then you can, again, either print the quote or submit that order. So that is reordering out of order history. Now we'll go back and look at some solid tooling. Some additional pieces of information: the die mark, PO number, and the die serial number can all be searched in partials, meaning if you just enter a partial, it will return everything that fits that criteria. And something additionally, you also don't need to enter all of the pieces of search criteria. You just need to enter what you think will get you to the die you want the fastest. So we've searched this particular solid tool here. We click into it. Again, you can see the shape here. For this particular die, you can see that it was purchased new on March 3rd, 2017, and then March 14th, it was returned to be resharpened or repaired. So over here, you can see the over-under PD when we originally sent it out, and then the over-under PD after we resharpened it the first time. So this will eventually get down to a point where we won't be able to resharpen it anymore. I believe the standard is 0.001. Once it gets to that point, you'll see a caveat down here that says your die is outside of our tolerance. We may not be able to resharpen it. We don't stop you for sending it in to be repaired, but we let you know that your die is reaching the end of its life. So from here, you can click Repair Resharpen, and it'll open up this form here. So you can enter a PO number, what date you need it by, the work you would like us to do to it, any additional information you might want us to know, any instructions, and then you can generate your resharpen form. So this creates a packing list you can include with the die when you ship it back to us, and that tells us all of the pertinent information associated with that particular die, as well as the work you expect us to do to it. So we'll go back to the home page. So that covers reordering out of order history, initiating a repair resharpen, and requesting documents. So within saved quotes, this shows all of the quotes you have saved in MyRoto, and quotes are kept for 180 days. So from here, you can look at the quote. You can delete it. You can copy a quote. You can go back in, look at a die. You can go in and go ahead and finish out that order. Upload a file, and then submit it. Something additionally you can do in saved quotes is you can also do some filtering. So if you're looking for a particular quote, you can pull it up here. upload a file. This is where you can upload any file associated with any order. If you didn't have the file at the time of placing the quote, or if you want to manage and store your files here, you can. So this is where you can load those files and come back to them later. So that's the new MyRoto. Thank you for your time.